So now that the dust has seemingly settled on the whole Warner Brothers acquisition nonsense, I figured I would make a video going over all of the main talking points that we've all been worrying about and seeing what Netflix has definitively said now that they've come to an agreement with Warner Brothers to buy the company. Now, I'm not going to be getting into the whole business aspect of it all because, quite frankly, I am stupid. Now, it should be noted that apparently Paramount is still trying to get Warner Brothers, like they're doing what's called a hostile bid or something. But based off of everything that I've read, it doesn't seem like that's going to be successful, but it is something to keep in mind. But we will proceed forward, assuming that Netflix is indeed buying Warner Brothers. The main thing that I think everybody's been worried about is what are going to happen to the theatrically released Warner Brothers films. Because in the past, Netflix has been very anti-movie theater. They'll do some limited releases where they'll put K-pop Demon Hunters. They'll put some of their movies that they think can win Oscars for however long the movies need to be in theaters to be eligible for the Academy Award. But generally speaking, they want to keep their movies on Netflix. Well, Netflix made a website where they are explicitly saying, "We're fully committed to releasing Warner Brothers films in theaters with a traditional window, so audiences everywhere can enjoy them on the big screen." I mean, that's very explicit. I guess they could just be lying about that. But as of right now, they are saying that they're giving Warner Brothers movies full theatrical runs. And one of the reasons why I think is because Netflix has been running into the issue of a lot of the creatives that they work with will make a movie with Netflix without it having a proper theatrical release. And then during the press tour, the director will be complaining that their movie isn't in more theaters. I remember Martin Scorsese did this when he made The Irishman. I think I remember Guillermo del Toro complaining about it. Greta Gerwig is making a Narnia movie. She's been trying to push for theatrical windows. I think it would be good for Netflix to give directors an option hey, do you want to make a movie with the normal Netflix model where maybe you have a higher budget? Or do you want to work with our theatrical division, Warner Brothers, where you can make your movie for regular theatrical release, but it might have a lower budget because then we're going to have to invest more in marketing and yada, yada, yada. Another thing that's been brought up is, are they just going to cut off HBO Max and just put all of that content onto Netflix? This one is admittedly a lot less clear. They say, "We plan to make sure HBO continues to create the prestige television shows that fans know and love." When they say that, do they mean that they're going to keep the HBO brand alive and they're going to keep that team together to make content for Netflix? Or are they going to keep HBO Max as its own independent streamer? So I was able to find this quote here. During the meeting, he, being David Zaslav, assured both employees and consumers that HBO Max will remain, and that anyone who has Netflix and HBO Max will have a better experience. For people who only want HBO Max, they will be able to get it. Now, the other big question that people have been having is, what are they going to do with the current leadership that is in place at Warner Brothers? Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy, they're the executives that run sort of the main Warner Brothers, so they greenlit the Minecraft movie, they greenlit Weapons, they greenlit Sinners, that's sort of their division. Then you have James Gunn and Peter Safran, who are the heads of DC Studios. They're the guys that are responsible for Creature Commandos, Superman, Peacemaker Season 2. Next year, they're going to be giving us Supergirl, Clayface, and Lanterns. Are they going to get rid of James Gunn? Are they going to #restore the Snyderverse? Well, Netflix has kind of addressed this as well. Netflix and Warner Brothers have complementary businesses, which is why we plan to continue operating them independently with the teams that currently run them. So have they explicitly said that they're keeping Gunn and Safran around? Have they explicitly said that they're keeping Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy? No. But that should basically tell us that, yeah, their jobs are probably safe. And honestly, this is kind of what I've been saying from the beginning. I don't think Gunn and Safran have done enough to really say whether or not you should keep them on. I would argue their first major and important project was Superman, and I think they did a good job with it. I think it's generally well liked, and it made money for them at the box office. 2026, I think, is going to end up being kind of a wash from that perspective, because, I mean, you're not going to make a decision based off of Supergirl or Clayface, right? I think 2027 is going to be a key defining year for them, because that's the year that we're going to get Man of Tomorrow and The Batman Part 2. And I think if those movies don't perform at the box office, then yes, I do think that their positions are going to be in question. But I think you kind of got to wait and see what does the next Superman do? What does the next Batman do? What does the next other Batman do, which is apparently going to be in the DCU? What does their Wonder Woman look like? These are going to be the key defining projects that I think are going to be the ultimate decision makers. Okay, and another major question that a lot of us have been having is, what does all of this mean for Warner Brothers games? Because yes, Warner Brothers owns a lot of gaming studios. They own Rocksteady, which made the Batman Arkham games, and yes, they did make Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They also own Avalanche, which I believe is the studio that made Hogwarts Legacy. They own NetherRealm, which made the Injustice games. They make Mortal Kombat. They own TT Games, which makes the Lego games. I mean, they have a lot of studios. Now, Netflix does have a gaming division, although at the moment it's very limited in scope. They basically focus on mobile games. So like if you have a phone and you have the Netflix app, you get access to a bunch of mobile games. Like I think you can play Red Dead Redemption, the first one, on your phone if you have Netflix. But they have been experimenting with video game streaming as well. Like right now, they don't have a ton of good stuff that you can play on your computer, but they do have Oxenfree that you can stream on your computer, and that is like a quote-unquote real game. So theoretically, they could be building up to a world where the next Batman game is available to stream on a PC. But even still, I do think that they will offer it on like PlayStation and Xbox and PC, because they did also publish Oxenfree 2, which was on all the major platforms. And they actually did comment on Warner Brothers games as well, so let's read what they said. So co-Netflix CEO Gregory Peters was asked, and does the Warner Brothers asset enhance or accelerate the success in the gaming side? And he answered, yes, and maybe worth going back again to sort of how we thought about the deal and building our valuation model. While they definitely have been doing some great work in the game space, we actually didn't attribute any value to that from the get-go because they're relatively minor compared to the grand scheme of things. Now we're super excited because some of those properties that they've built, Hogwarts is a great example of that, have done quite well. And we think that we can incorporate that into what we're offering. They've got great studios and great folks working there. So we think that there's definitely an opportunity there, but just to be clear, we haven't built that into our deal model. So a lot of people have run with that and said that Netflix calls Warner Brothers games worthless. And that's just not what they said. They explicitly said that, yes, they do think that they can incorporate that into their business. So we'll see. I think that it could potentially be a good thing in the sense that maybe Netflix won't be like forcing Rocksteady to make a live service Suicide Squad game. Hopefully they won't force the Hogwarts Legacy sequel to have a bunch of microtransactions, stuff that the old Warner Brothers have been doing with their games. Say what you will about Netflix. At least from what I can tell, they appear to kind of just let their artists do whatever they want. Like, they don't really seem to be the micromanagey type studio. But I will admit that the gaming division is the most nebulous of all of this. So anyways, that's about all the information that we have. While I'd rather nobody buy Warner Brothers, I do think that Netflix might end up being the best case scenario. The argument that they're making here, that they're complementary business models and that they're going to keep it around as their theatrical division arm, that is kind of true. Like, if they kind of allow them to run independently and they don't end up firing a ton of people because they do different jobs, that probably is a lot better than it would have been if Paramount had bought them. And if we can get a new era of Warner Brothers gaming where, DC games and Lord of the Rings games and Harry Potter games are made without microtransaction-y nonsense, and artists are given more freedom to just make video games, I mean, that could also be kind of cool. We'll see. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.